Welcome to the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com. Living rent-free in UT is right on the money. Recruiting madness. Let's go. It is recruiting madness. We're about, let's see. They can start signing, I think, at 7 a.m. local time, right, Charlie? That's the rule. So we got some Florida guys. That means 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Recruiting madness for a long time. This is a great time to head to Inside Texas. So make sure you do that. Let me get this up because you're not going to want to miss this. Join Inside Texas today. You can get on there for a week for just $1. It means you get National Signing Day tomorrow and all the way through Friday because it's a signing period. You get all our preview content for the SEC championship game. We'll be talking about the playoffs, have quick stuff on the matchup, even when those I think are announced on Sunday. Oh, and guess what? The portal opens on Monday as well. So go ahead and join Inside Texas. This is an eventful week for everybody to join. And you know what? I'm going to knock this out of the way so we can just keep everything focused on questions. So make sure you get your questions in. We have a lot of different stuff to go over, all these different positions, all these different things that you should head to Inside Texas for. But real quick, knock this out. If you are looking for tickets, whether it's to the SEC championship game Sunday when Texas plays ranked UConn, if you want to go to an NBA game, NFL playoffs, NHL, the Stars are playing, concerts, the college football playoff, wherever Texas ends up, whether that be not Austin, we hope, but maybe at a neutral site, go to Game Time, use the Game Time app, go to gametime.co. Use the promo code ON3 and you will get $20 off your first purchase. It shows the all-in price, so you're not pressing add to cart and then submit and then, oh, boom, there are the fees. You see everything. It'll show you where your seats are. So go ahead, use the Game Time app. Hey, I know the best prices I saw for the Texas versus Texas A&M game were on Game Time, and I can be pretty darn sure that the best is as well for the SEC championship. So go to Game Time, promo code ON3, $20 off your first purchase. Of course, terms do apply. So let's go through some questions. Oh, man, this is I got to scroll through all the chats, but we thank everybody for joining in. While questions are loading up, Charlie, thoughts on Cade Phillips rejoining the fold?
Yeah, man. He had some flip-flop in there, but I'm glad that he ended up choosing Texas, man. Look, this is a great kid, great family, man, but this is an athletic cat, man. Has cat-like reflexes. He can play the field position. He can run with pretty much anyone. He has ball skills like a receiver. In fact, you see some film of him playing a receiver, so which is always good when he'll pick the ball up and look at the score. But I really, really love this kid. Tough physical kid, smart kid, and good to steal one from the team in the boot.
Justin, we had Eric Nalin just write an article about all the fits for this defensive back class. So now you're looking at cornerback, Caleb Chester, Cade Phillips, Grayson Littleton. And at safety, you got Jonah Williams and Zealous Hicks. That's a home run. And that's, you hit all 5 bases, not just all 4 with that grand slam.
Yeah, you know what? Sark is pretty good at the plate when it comes to recruiting. He might be a George Brett, Tony Gwynn, 390, 400 in a season type hitter, especially in November and December. This guy is tremendous. They wanted 5, and guess what? They got 5. Sark has a plan, man. And remember, we've gone through this for 2 summers where they may not have landed the biggest fish in the summertime, and fans start clamoring and worrying and going on that roller coaster. And we're trying to strap them in. We're trying to let them know this is Six Flags, but this is safe. This is a safe place. And Sark's got it. And this is him working his magic again, guys. And so they wanted 5. And I got to tell you, that 5 looks really, really good on paper and on the field.
Let's go ahead and get to this great super chat. Thanks to Rich Money Cash 1. What 5 stars are we landing? Let's get straight to it. Let's go over the 5 stars. I'm going to go by the On3 industry ranking that are currently uncommitted that Texas seems to be in on. Obviously, you've got Jonah Williams already in, shut down his recruitment. You saw him post about that yesterday. Lance Jackson is also a 5-star, as is Khalid Lockett. So there's 3 right there. Cade Phillips and Jamie French are just on the outside looking in. They're top 35 prospects, but they just missed that threshold. But the ones that everybody is looking at, that would be Justice Terry, who, Justin, correct me if I'm wrong, announces Friday, correct?
Yes,
so
sir.
it's a signing window, not just one signing day. They can sign up on Friday as well. And that is the commit, or the, excuse me, not the commitment, but the prospect that Texas is, probably the highest ranked prospect Texas is in on right now. Auburn, Georgia, any school within a 3-hour radius is really focused on them. You got to see Justice Terry at Manchester. Where does Texas stand with what they're trying to do with the 5-star defensive lineman?
Yeah, so when I left Manchester, my first thing was that's the most imposing kid I've seen in 2025's class. And then the second thing was it was pretty known within the staff there that Georgia probably leads, that Kirby couldn't let this kid actually leave the state just because of how highly ranked he is and how coveted. I mean, he's the number 2 defensive lineman in the country. And then Texas showed up to his game 2 weeks ago for a playoff game. Chris Gilbert on the sidelines. And that's the Horns shooting their shot. Well, the Horns are continuing to shoot their shot. I'm telling you right now, they're pushing all their chips to the center of the table for this kid. And this kid could be the highest rated prospect in this class if he ultimately does pick Texas. Look, Kirby Smart's got the advantage. They were one of the first offers he had. I believe it was in 8th grade, maybe early 9th grade. And so it just goes – I've made this comparison before. It's like Colin Simmons in Texas. Like Sark just could not afford to let Simmons leave. I think there's kind of that same sentiment when it comes to Kirby Smart and Justice Terry. But I got to tell you, when I left Manchester, I didn't really think Texas had that much of a shot, to be honest. 2 or 3 weeks later, Texas has a shot, and it's a legitimate shot. You said it. Auburn's in the mix. I think Miami's throwing some stuff around. Florida's trying to get him in the mix. I think South Carolina is too. I think this is Texas, Georgia, Auburn battle. I'd be shocked if it was Auburn. But listen, we feel like Texas has some momentum there. And with the fact that he's going to wait till Friday, that gives the Horns 3.5 more days to get that recruiting pitch down, to get that NIL pitch down, to get everything lined up. And so if I'm a Texas fan, that is what one of the biggest things I'm going to be paying attention to at Inside Texas over the next 3 or 4 days and paying attention on the YouTube channel because, hey, I'll be honest, I thought it was a slight chance a month ago. Now Texas is legitimately in this. Just catching up with some of their staff yesterday, Texas is legitimately in this recruitment.
Looking at, I'm going to flip it to the on 3 rankings. I get to, play it both ways, like that little meme from Always Sunny. Looking at the 5 stars, they wait till they get to the very end of the cycle to get to 32. But so that means Smith Aragbo's on the outside looking in, but other commits like Cade Phillips is an on 3 5-star, Jonah Williams again, and Lance Jackson. But an on 3 5-star coach that we're also tracking Texas efforts with is Oklahoma commit Michael Fasusi. Took in a Longhorns game, took in the Aggie game. How much does maybe Lamont Rogers flipping from Missouri to A&M affect this? And what do you know where Texas efforts are at with the 5-star from Louisville?
Yeah, well, Lamont coming to A&M, I think that gives them 2 bookends at the tackle position for A&M. But with Texas, look, they're shooting a shot with him as well until the final hour. And to that pen his paper, you're going to recruit a guy like that. I think Justin said it before. He's a numbers buster, right? No matter what, he has that type of talent, that type of upside. That's somebody you can bring in. You got the decommitment of John Mills last night, so maybe you have an extra spot on the offensive line. Push the chips all in the middle of the table for Fasusi, and let's see where it lands. See who he signs with tomorrow. But I don't think Texas is giving up in that one, and I think he's really unsure, especially with all the uncertainty, north of the Red River there. What's going on in Oklahoma, that they have a chance just like everybody else.
I will go ahead.
Justin. Funny. A month ago, did you think we would be saying Justice Terry is more likely to sign with Texas than Michael Fasusi? Because that's what we're saying today, and that's nuts, and that's wonderful. Carry on.
I think to bring in some team aspect of it, obviously Oklahoma named their new offensive coordinator yesterday, Ben Arbuckle, and in the press release said he's keeping Joe John Finley, keeping Emmett Jones, keeping DeMarco Murray, right?
Yeah.
And then also keeping Bill Bedenbaugh. And that was one of the big aspects that helps Oklahoma with a number of offensive line recruitments. Path to the playing time is obviously a big one for Fasusi that's there. Because Justin, like you kind of mentioned, we all saw number 74 step in for number 78 on Saturday and look pretty good doing it.
That's exactly what happened. And listen, Michael's being open-minded, but I got to tell you, he's torn because he is so devout to Bill Bedenbaugh in Oklahoma. Like him taking these visits, he almost feels like he's cheating in a way because that's the kind of kid he is. When he said he committed, he means it. He's one of those kids that's not really a flip-flop type. And then he goes to A&M and watched Trevor Gooseby. And if you'll remember when we were reporting this back in the spring, off the record, he kept asking me, what does that depth chart look like at Texas next year? It's Brandon Baker and Gooseby, right? Like he knew who were going to be the two guys to replace Kelvin Banks and potentially Cam Williams in 2025. He's been aware of this kind of stuff. And so at the end of the day, watching Gooseby may not have helped Texas efforts, but I don't really think it matters. I still, from everything I'm gathering from Louisville and sources close to Fasusi, he's still going to sign with Oklahoma. But like Charlie said, and like Fasusi told me like 2 months ago, he said, man, these guys keep calling me. And I said, Michael, they're going to call you until you sign. That's just the way the world works for a five-star offensive tackle. And so, yeah, watching Gooseby not skip a beat, honestly, if I'm a recruit, that impresses me. That's development. That's showing that you can be a backup, jump in because of an injury, and be ready to go from the start. And I don't think Michael's afraid of competition. I really, really don't. I just think he knows the path to the field is much faster and much smoother in Norman. And again, he is crushing hard on Bill Bedenbaugh, and that's just the fact of the matter.
Keep on moving. Will French stick? I read through some notes from our friends over at Gators Online, kind of their class projections. French isn't on there. And Charlie, this was one of those key things where sometimes, even with this era where you're making NIL a factor and playing time, like face time does still matter. And getting French back on campus, I think, what was that for the Kentucky game?
Kentucky game. I talked to him.
It was hugely important and probably was a big factor in, among all the other things, all the reasons why he committed, making sure this one is going to get across the finish line.
Yeah, definitely. Look, he has a great relationship with the Texas staff. He knows who his quarterback will be if he comes to Texas. You got a lot of things working for Texas in this recruitment, right? You look at the offense, you look at the head coach, you look at the culture, you look at Austin, Texas, and then, like I said, you look at the quarterback. And so you can't blame, Florida for really trying to keep him close to home. And you'll get some kids who get cold feet, right? Do they really want to leave far away from home? But just getting to know French and talking to him, Austin, Texas is home, right? And family could join him in Austin, just like DeAndre Moore's family did, right? And so you see people have success before you come there and do the exact same thing, move to Austin, Texas, and have success. Why can't you be the next one? And so I think he sticks with the Horns, and I feel confident about that.
Hey, the only thing you need to know about Jamie French is that he went to Florida on Sunday, and Texas wasn't worried. They're like, cool, sounds good. He'll sign on Wednesday. That's your French update.
Always fun to hear that and hear those updates. Justin, this is one you've been on here in Oregon, trying to get back in the mix with Michael Terry. We have some good contacts who cover the Ducks, and when we brought this up, it seemed to be a little bit of a surprise to them. Yeah.
So apparently Oregon and Terry haven't talked in months, or at least since early October. And so, anything you're hearing there, it just doesn't seem plausible, to be honest with you. It doesn't seem real, I think. But you're going to hear a lot of this 24 hours before National Signing Day. This is the kind of stuff you're going to hear. You're going to see a lot of people throw stuff on the wall and just pray to God that it sticks. And every once in a while, they'll be right, but more than often, they're going to be wrong. And so, here's the thing. Michael Terry isn't into NIL. He's going to be compensated, but that's not anything close. I talked to the kid last night. Never once did he mention NIL. He mentioned education. He mentioned a career and resources after playing football. He mentioned proximity. He never mentioned NIL. Oregon only really gets into it and has a chance when NIL is a giant factor. I just don't think it matches there. I think that's why Oregon and Michael Terry haven't talked in months, and why I'd be I'd be somewhat surprised if Oregon is even involved in this whatsoever. With Nebraska losing their wide receiver coach, I think that actually helped Texas even more yesterday. And again, talking to Michael Terry last night, I still feel very confident it's Texas tomorrow.
Yeah, that's and you've spoken on here, written that Nebraska is recruiting him not like he's the number one athlete, but the number one player in the country. And Nebraska has made, I think I'm using some of your words, that made him like the focal point of their class, wants him to be the centerpiece.
Absolutely. Let me answer Drew real quick. I'm going to throw this at Drew real quick. Hey, last night I asked him to tell me 2 good things. Come to Inside Texas. He gave us some really good quotes. I said, tell me what is great about Nebraska. He said he thinks Coach Rule is the coach and that staff is the staff to turn that program around. I said, what about Texas? He said, man, Sark has that thing running full throttle and they're not slowing down. Could he decide on Nebraska? Perhaps. Will he? Probably not.
Looking through some more comments. Drew, you had another good one. Look, where are we at on Hilson? Michigan's throwing bread. Other people in the chat are talking about how Missouri is starting to get some buzz. I think on other site, haven't seen it pop up.
They do big in IL too.
Yes.
On 3 quite yet. We had Eric Naline post an update that, if you asked this same question 2 months ago, we would have thought that there was a very good chance Hilson was in the class.
Yeah.
But at this point, does not look like that will come to fruition. And still, at that edge position, you're locked and loaded next year when you got guys like Colin Simmons. You may have Trey Moore back. Who knows? You got Ethan Burke, Colton Bosick. You're going to have Zena Umozulu. I think you're going to have 5 stars or top 50 guys in Lance Jackson and Smith Orogbo in this class. So they are in good shape at that edge position. Hilson would have made them in better shape. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like this is a
Lance and Orogbo were both really good in that position. Can you guys remember a time where that position was in a better shape or with better depth? It's been a long time.
It's been a long time, yeah.
Exactly. And I see this from Roaster, DJ Pickett to Miami or Florida. I think what's his name? How am I forgetting that? On Today of All Days, Steve Wiltfong has something. He thinks he sticks with LSU. So they're not going to – Corey Raymond's not going to lose 2 5-stars in one day. I'll give him enough credit on that.
Not unless he tries really hard.
Exactly. So trying to think, what are some of the let's talk about guys that we know are in the class, guys that are signing. We're going to have a lot of content, more than – this is our biggest content 36 hours of the year. We're going to have a little bit of updates. If you go to Inside Texas, there's already stuff linking back to some of the evaluations and other things that we had. There's always news and notes popping up. But I'm going to, let's see if I can go through some of these questions while we're going over this. But off the top, just favorite commit. I'm going to make it real easy. I'm not going to put very many qualifiers on it. I'm not going to go overboard on anything.
Nate Marshall just flipped to Michigan. We reported yesterday that we did not think Texas was in that one. That was more of an agent-backed type recruitment. He just flipped to Michigan. Hayes Fawcett just reported. Didn't want to interrupt you, Joseph, but that confirmed what we reported yesterday. That's good.
Good on that one. Charlie, I'll let you go first. Who's your favorite commit in this class?
I'm gonna have to go favorite just because I've gotten so close to him and his family, and I think he's the next. Let me not put that kind of pressure on him, but I think he has a chance to be a great player for Texas. And I got to go Elijah Bo Barnes just because attitude, demeanor, and his play on the field, man. The way he set his goals before the season, and he lived up to every single one of them, right? I think me and Justin met him during the spring during track. He's like, my goals are running the 11 flat and 100, right? He got it, right? Like, getting better and better and reaching the goals that he set for himself. I think the sky's the limit, man. I just love his demeanor. I think he's a leader amongst boys or soon to be men when they get to Texas, and I think he's going to do great things.
I loved watching him chase Caden Durham. That's something I'd like to see again.
Justin, who's your favorite commit in this class?
Well, I'm not going to go the easy route like everybody on here thinks. I'm not going to go Lance Jackson, even though he is probably my favorite kid.
You could justifiably do that.
I could, and I could for Ricky Stewart Jr., who is an even better kid. That one's a big get as well. But I'm going to tell you right now, my favorite is Jamie French, because Arch Manning needs targets. He needs guys to throw the pill to. And Texas is kind of starting a little trend of sending receivers to the NFL. And I got to tell you, Jamie French might be the most enthusiastic, positive, delightful kid I've met in this cycle. And I'm not going to forget that. And that's why, after his Florida OV, what did he do? He connected with us and kind of let us know, look, this is really what's going on. During his Kentucky visit at Texas, he let us know, hey, this is kind of what's going on. I love when kids keep us in the loop. And Jamie French has just been so easy to deal with, so nice, so open. And I'm glad we got the French question out of the way first, because I think he knows, like you said, Joe, Austin is home. And so I could default Lance Jackson. Look, Jonah Williams should be one of our picks. That dude is an absolute monster. But I'm going with Mr. French, because that kid has been such a delight to not only cover, but to watch his senior tape. Outstanding. He'll be on campus in January.
All right, then I'm going to go with Jonah.
There you go.
If you are going to leave him open to it, I'm going to go with the kid who's not only a standout on the gridiron, but on the baseball diamond as well. And that, one of the things that there used to be a sense on the Inside Texas message board, and I think this said a lot more about the recruiting climate than Texas recruiting ability, was that, Nick Saban's just coming into Texas to thumb his nose at Texas. Nick Saban didn't care who he was taking a commit from, maybe until you got to reason number 4. He wanted the top player because he wanted the best player for his team. And then you can go down, okay, you like the fit, you like the person, you like that. Maybe getting the kid away from LSU. Like Devontae Smith was from Louisiana. Didn't Dylan Moses went to ULab High? Yeah, it's nice to twist the knife a little bit on pulling a guy from your rival, but the key is to get the best player. Jonah Williams, best player, arguably one of the best players in the state of Texas, arguably the best defensive player in the state of Texas. LSU wanted him and thought they had a really great shot at him.
Yeah.
Texas A&M wanted him, thought they had a really great shot at him. But now he's going to be a Longhorn, put pen to paper tomorrow, from a Galveston County, the mainland part of Galveston County that has a lot of Aggies in that area. And he's going to be a Longhorn. So, hey, you want to have that elite 6'4", 210-pounder in your secondary. You want him on the center. You want him playing center field. You want him doing all that. But it's nice. It'll be nice for Texas that he's doing it in burnt orange instead of in maroon and white.
And him popping in for the last 3 games of the season at DKR, kind of under the radar, you love to see that. I talked to him after the game against Kentucky. All he wanted to do was get on the field so he could see Jim Schlossnagle and see Steve Sarkisian. So we sort of maneuvered him to get down on the field and let the ladies let him through. Jonah is so excited about being a Longhorn, probably more so than when he committed in August, and for good reason. So good pick, Joe. I give you credit for that one.
Manuel B, amazing job, guys. Just love the content. Fastening my seatbelt for the next 72 hours. You and us both. Is Hicks looking at Colorado? That's zealous Hicks. And also, it's a chance of getting Terry and Hilson. We'll go backwards. Hilson, not feeling like Texas is going to be in on that one. Terry, if you go back earlier in the video, Justin goes over that one. It's he kind of dispels the Oregon notion. Texas versus Nebraska tomorrow at 8:15 a.m. We'll find out, and no reason for anybody inside Texas to change their picks on Terry. Coach, you and I have kind of tried to be the ones to figure out this zealous thing. I haven't gotten much info. I don't think I'm curious if you heard much on that. He did take a late visit to Tennessee, but then he took his official visit to Texas.
And Florida.
Yeah. He took his official visit to Texas, did tweet out announcement December 4th, which I'm sure some people are a little bit skeptical of, but this one seems like the information's not as free-flowing on this one as some of the other ones.
Yeah, exactly. Just the only things we have mentioned, like he went to Florida, he went to Tennessee. We knew Colorado offered him late in cycle, maybe 2 weeks ago. I don't think he got a chance to go out there and visit, but I didn't hear anything back. There was nothing posted anywhere, and so kind of kept it quiet on that. And so on that front, so I'm not really sure what he's going to do. I like him to stay with Texas just because he didn't get a chance to go and see, I guess, the prime hype that's going on in Boulder, but we shall see on tomorrow there.
Don't forget his teammates. He's got teammates committed and signing to Colorado, and I think that is as much of it as anything.
one of the other things that Texas has been good at, but Dion is good at, is he can get guys without a visit. He can get guys to commit.
He's
with a phone call.
in-home.
Yeah, and everybody doesn't. I don't think anybody's doing in-homes this year just because they don't have literal time to do it. But Dion is someone who, compared to a lot of other coaches, can get you signed up just by a phone call. So very, very unique recruiting ability. And I know there are some people who are like, oh, he's a reclass. It doesn't always work out that way. He's still a pretty talented guy. I like him in the safety class.
Yeah, he's long and rangy, and he's actually a good. He's not your corner, maybe maybe a nickel, but he's got a wingspan. Kid looks pretty good. He did well against Aaron Gregory, 2026 Douglas County 4-star that Texas is targeting, A&M commit. Hicks can ball. He's just a little bit older. That's all.
Like this one, David Rawls, Malcolm Simpson, since Mbacho just flipped, and they haven't offered him yet. I think they have their obviously they have their irons in the Justice Terry fire.
Yeah,
and they're trust me, they're going to look at places other than Malcolm Simpson at this point.
Yes.
It looks like this one. Thank you, Dan James from Facebook. What else do we need to finish up the class? Could use a kicker and a punter. Here's the thing: Will Stone's on scholarship. Michael Kern's on scholarship, and the long snapper Lance St. Louis is on scholarship, and Bert Auburn's on scholarship. There's 4 of your 85 for next year right there. I think Auburn is going to graduate, go pro in something other than sports. So you still have 3. Do you add a 4th? Do you want to do that again and bring in competition for Kern? I'm not going to sit here and say Kern had a good year. He had a freshman punter year and an average one at that. But I'm not sure if they're going to go out and get somebody at punter. They would have done it by now. That's something that you can get pretty locked up early.
I think if you found a walk-on, I do believe they'll bring in a walk-on potentially from the portal. I do think they'll bring in another punter and possibly another kicker, but I just don't think it's going to be on scholarship in this cycle.
Right. And that's just something that, Will Stone, we've seen as his leg. We don't know ton about his accuracy just because he's had 2 extra point attempts in his career because Auburn's been the guy. They have a good kicker from Westlake in the walk-on ranks currently. They've got Ian Ratliff who did pretty well. I just don't see scholarship being the route they take here just by the roster, but now just based off the roster building stuff. We can talk a little bit of portal. CJ Daniels, who we talked a lot about this time last year when it came to wide receiver recruiting out of the transfer portal. He is leaving Baton Rouge, it looks like. I'm trying to figure out what his stats were. He missed a few games.
I don't remember him doing much.
He 42 catches, 480 yards. So, I think he missed games.
He did.
Which would actually be pretty good numbers then.
Right. One year of eligibility remaining, it looks like. I feel like with the wide receivers they have, the ones that they may expect not to be there, kind of like Isaiah Bond, that's someone who's probably going to take his talents to the NFL. At least that's it seems to be the assumption by everybody. They're going to be, Justin, this feels like a place where they're going to be very selective about any wide receiver they may take.
They definitely will. I mean, they've got 3 coming in this cycle in McCutcheon, French, and Kalik Lockett. And also, they're going to look in this. They're going to look in the portal always for the TBA, or the best player, BPA, best player available, and that could be a receiver. You don't know. They've got some irons in the fire, but right now, I think they're more focused on finishing this class. And I feel like over the next 48 to 72 hours, we'll start to see more of what the portal. What's the word I'm looking for? Portal direction will be. And so, right, if they only lose Bond, I mean, they could potentially lose Golden. But if they only lose Bond and bringing in 3, I'm not really sure that, with Jonte Cook gone, I think that could be a spot where they would maybe look in the portal, or that might be Dalen McCutcheon's spot as a freshman, But they're going to be super selective at receiver just because they've got some really good young talent. Look, they really like Parker Livingstone. They really like Aaron Butler. And look, if you go into that program and you get developed, they're good about giving you your shot. And so I think we'll get a little bit more clarity after National Signing Day, but I'm with you, Joe. I think they're going to be very selective at wide receiver and probably as selective, but definitely pick one up at running back.
One of the things about last year that makes it a little bit of an anomaly was that after Worthy, Whittington, and A.D. Mitchell left, they had, see if I can do this right, 7 scholarship receivers on roster, and one of the and you can't go through a year with that many, especially when they're all freshmen and sophomores. And one of them is, I think, Freddie DuBose, who hasn't suited up this year. So they had to add 3 to 4 more. It's just that those 3 to 4 more went to the top of the depth chart, and guys like Isaiah Bond, Matthew Golden, Silas Bolden, that crew, and then so I think the depth chart's a lot healthier this year. You're not going to have that lack of number. You're not going to have 15 like Tom Herman wanted on the roster. But if they do make additions at wide receiver, it will probably be BPA instead of like, okay, we need to get as many people as possible. Williams David, good to see you again. What's up with Javian Hilson? Looks like he could be going to Missouri or Michigan, would be perfect at UT. We talked about this a little bit earlier. I asked this question 2 months ago, and we're talking about how confident we feel in Hilson being Longhorn. Just did not work out that way. Starts entertaining overtures from other schools, and it looks like he's going to be heading elsewhere. Just tamper with whoever wins the Ray guy, the Lou Groza.
Hey, the Eastern Michigan kid, somebody had tweeted about him earlier this morning because he has 6 or 7 50-yard plus kicks on his resume. That's a kid that's getting a scholarship.
Yeah, definitely.
But I do like Hunter's. I like his style. I like where his head's at.
What would be Charlie, I'm putting this one to you. What would be the biggest surprise on signing day?
Oh, man. The biggest surprise, huh? I mean, I think he got him listed there in the IE, right? Right after his question, right? You Justice Terry, that'd be the biggest surprise. He ends up choosing the Longhorns, man. That'd be a great get. I'm gonna go with Justice Terry just because you added him in the question, but for me, that would be.
I'm looking at this, and I'd be very surprised if that happened, because why not just go to the NFL? I haven't seen that come up. Hey, if you're looking for the best Kentucky coverage, Kentucky Sports Radio and On3 is that. Yes, he would be a great fit. He'd be great. I think his next step is the NFL. I don't think he's coming back to college for a year. And that's without much info on it. That's just looking at stuff from practicality. Tegan Cloud, I know we talked about Texas bringing in people from the portal. What about people who could leave Texas? We wait to really touch on this. A lot of it's very obvious from playing time, I feel like. Here's the other thing. Unless you're in a situation like Malik Murphy last year where, like, you can't really wait around to January 2nd before you start to find a place because all the spots are filled up. Right. There's nobody at Texas playing quarterback who's probably going to portal. So there we go. Wide receivers, you're going to find your spot. You have a full window. Like, I don't think we're going to get any portal defections from Texas unless it is like super obvious, because there's playoff games in SEC championship games to play. Right? Do I seem off there?
No, you're right. You're right there. I think that's going to be part of the motivation. Is Texas going to lose a few people? I feel like they will. I feel like there's going to be a couple of guys that from the last class that may not have measured up or may just need a fresh start somewhere else. But if Texas is making a playoff run, this is kind of moot until the season's over, because why would you leave a program when you could easily win a ring and potentially maybe suit up or get on the field if somebody gets hurt? We've seen that already in number of spots this year with injuries, guys sliding in. Beginning of the year, Trey Wisner was the 4th string running back? Dude's a monster now going into December. And so Texas isn't going to lose anybody they don't want to lose. To me, that's the most important factor when we talk about the portal.
Fellas, I think 35 good minutes. We got more work to do. We got a lot of stuff to get done. So come check out that work. Go to InsideTexas.com. we have $1 will get you 7 days of Inside Texas. That means National Signing Day, the National Signing Window. It means the Georgia game. That means the start of playoff madness, start of the transfer portal, start of everything. So no better time to come join Inside Texas. It is the place to be as we get ready for signing day. So, gentlemen, thank you. Thank you to our sponsor, Game Time. Thank you for watching. Hey, we'll be back tomorrow. We're going to have an extended show, I think, tomorrow, starting in the morning. A little earlier than usual. Heck, there may even be a signature or two in by then. There we go. I'm losing track of the English language.
And don't forget, Michael Terry announces at 8:20, I believe, or 8:30. Michael Fasusi announces at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon in Louisville. Kellen Wiley, we're still checking on his announcement time, but we love where Texas is there. So you're just going to have to come back and hang out with us again.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com.